Hello, this is Sam from Freeman Natural Health. Today I want to talk about a very important plant, maybe the most important plant that every gardener needs put in their garden. And I'll tell you why. First off, this plant is the Comfrey plant. And I say it's so important because it has so many uses with it. The Comfrey plant has nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, and also calcium in it. Now I know I talk about a lot of times that our vegetables and fruits that we find in the grocery store, the companies that are making them, that are growing them, base everything off of yields. And they're not as concerned about the nutrients that are in their plants and in this food that we eventually have. So whenever we're growing it ourselves, I always try to focus on growing very nutrient dense vegetables and fruits and plants. Now the reason that Comfrey is so important is because it shoots down an 8-foot long taproot. And so it's able to pick up so many minerals and nutrients out of it. And with that, it gets that potassium, the nitrogen, the phosphorus, and the calcium, and it makes an excellent fertilizer. Now, you can also do a lot of other things. These are very prolific plants. Right now, it's the middle of April, and this one's already just shot up, and I believe I just planted this one last year. It is a perennial plant, so it will come back every single year, and the conditions for it growing, it's a very tough plant, so there's not a lot. And the reason it's a very good fertilizer is because your plants need all the things that this plant has. And what I'm going to do today is make some Comfrey tea. Now the leaves and the roots on these also make great salves for you to put on your skin, and help with any burns or things like that. So the leaves are what I'm going to use for the Comfrey tea, which is the fertilizer. And then I'm also going to use some of these leaves for a salve. And then I'm going to take up the roots on this thing as well so I can propagate it. Now, you can get many Comfrey plants out of just one plant. And I will take this down and get the roots out. And this plant a month from now will be just as big as it is right now in this spot right here, and I'll grow many more. So let's first go ahead and make this Comfrey tea, which is the fertilizer you can use for many other plants, and then after that we will I'll show you how to propagate this plant. I say I really love this plant, and one of the things that it does in your garden is help save you a lot of money. I said earlier we need to put a lot of nutrients into our soil and into our plants as we grow them. Well, that can get kind of expensive, and I see a lot of these channels out there that they're using fertilizers and things like that, but they're spending all kinds of money. And the first couple years I was at this, I probably spent a lot more money than what I needed to, just making a lot of mistakes and learning from a lot of things. But this Comfrey keeps growing and growing and keeps giving and giving. So I can always use this as a fertilizer. And now really this, with a lot of other methods, I really don't spend a whole lot of money on my gardening anymore. There is a little bit, but just not nearly as much. But basically what you need is a bucket and we're just going to come in and start snipping this and getting the leaves, stems, whatever you want out of it. And it's pretty simple. Now, like I said earlier, we can take this plant all the way down and use all this, and a month from now it'll be right back just where it was. But get these leaves in there and just trim them up like this. And just keep going. I'm not going to record this whole thing because I actually have 2 plants that I'm doing this with today. But we'll get the rest of this in there. Okay, as you can see now, this plant here is completely gone. I've cut all the stems and leaves off of it, and I have them in these buckets over here. Now, before I do this, I will tell you there is another method a lot of people use where they just chop the leaves off and drop them around the plant that they're wanting to fertilize. And that works. Just for me, this method of making the Comfrey tea has been more beneficial in the results that I've seen. The best time you can do this is right before big rain. Just get that natural rainwater in there into these buckets. But I've checked the weather here and it's not supposed to rain anytime soon, so I'm just going to fill them up. Now, all you really have to do from here is fill these buckets up. I have 2 of them right here, and wait about a week. And after that, your Comfrey tea will be ready. All you have to do from there is just sift it through, get all the leaves and everything out of there. Sift one bucket into another, so you just have the liquid left. And then from there, you're ready to put that on your plants. But I always put some extra water on there too, because this is pretty potent. Now, after about a week, this fertilizer that you made out of the Comfrey is going to be smelling pretty bad, so don't let that alert you. But they'll be ready, and all your plants are going to love it, and it'll save you money on spending all these monies on fertilizers and things like that. And yeah, so we're ready. Just fill these buckets, stir them up a little bit, and we'll be ready to go.